There comes a time when life no longer feels like a series of accidents. Not because the world becomes kinder, but because our vision becomes clearer. Falsehoods start to melt away. Mental noise fades. The intellect regains its sharpness. Something deep happens. We start viewing reality as it actually is, not as we want it to be. The ancients never called this a magical awakening. They termed it logic, transparency, and inner sight. And once it appears, there is no going back to being blind. The first and perhaps most jarring change is not visions or signs, but internal stillness. Not quietness outside, but peace within. The constant emotional talk gets quieter. Thoughts that once yelled now whisper. Events that once stole our mood no longer rule us. Anger still shows up, but it doesn't force action. Fear still rises, but it doesn't drive choices. Desire still stays, but it is checked before it is chased. This feels strange because we were taught to think that high energy equals being alive. Yet the Stoics knew the opposite. Power starts when emotion is watched instead of followed. Epictetus said clearly, "It is not things that bother us, but our opinions about them." When vision sharpens, feelings become cues, not commands. We stop identifying with every drifting thought. We stop calling every wave of emotion our true self. At first, this distance feels odd. We might worry we are becoming colder. But what is happening is leadership returning to the brain. We are no longer governed by habits. Where there was once a burst, there is now a gap. Where there was dread, there is logic. Where there was giving up, there is self-control. Marcus Aurelius told himself, "You have authority over your mind, not external events. Grasp this and you will find grit." This realization is not a theory, it is a lived reality. We start to see how much of our agony was self-made. How often hurt came not from facts, but from fighting them. This truth hurts, but it sets you free. Pain fades. Control stays. Clarity asks for duty. Once we see well, blaming others loses its charm. Mental peace does not make us lazy. It makes us exact. We act when needed. We stay still when it's smarter. Seneca wrote, "A man who hurts before it is vital hurts more than is vital." And so we stop practicing for failure. We stop ruining the now with fake futures. This isn't magic, it is training. The mind is no longer napping. It is focused. The second change is tough. As focus grows, we see ourselves without masks. The tales we told to save our pride begin falling apart. The reasons we repeated lose their strength. The most shocking finding is this: much of our misery was caused by ourselves. It feels like being in a dark space looking at a glass. We see habits once missed. Our hunger for praise, our defensive ways, ego acting like honor, terror hidden as logic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul is stained with the tint of its thoughts." When focus sharpens, we see the real color of our inner world. And it is not always pretty. Growth feels lonely here. We can no longer fully trick ourselves. Yet we are not totally free of routine either. We stand between who we used to be and who we are turning into. Queries arise. Why do I need approval? Why do I hold on to grudges? Why do I fear being judged? Epictetus said, "If you wish to get better, be okay with being thought dull." Awareness shows the ego's greed for status and power. This part feels like a loss, but it is a shedding. Old selves fade. We stop defending errors. We stop explaining ourselves to people who gain from our mix-ups. We stop acting like outer wealth fixes inner mess. Not knowing was simpler. Lying to ourselves was softer. But ease never created muscle. Seneca noted, "No man is more miserable than he who never meets trouble." Self-sight is a type of trouble. It takes away excuses, yet clarity gives modest strength and duty. Instead of asking, "Why me?" we ask, "What is this schooling me?" That change shifts a life. Growth doesn't start with light. It starts with being exposed. Once the lie leaves, getting better becomes a must. Without trying, you start leaving the mess. Crowds feel heavier. Constant talking tires you. Rumors and empty praise lose their draw. It isn't pride. It is a reset. Seneca suggested, "Spend time with those who make you better." As vision sharpens, we naturally drift from spots that ruin inner peace. We see how much power was lost proving our point. Fighting, talking, reacting, being alone becomes healing. Silence feeds us. Watching takes the place of reacting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Nowhere can a man find a calmer spot than in his own heart. As focus deepens, we go inside, not to quit life, but to match it. We talk less, we share only with a few. We know not everyone earns a seat in our inner circle. Epictetus suggested, be mostly quiet, or say only what is required. Energy saved becomes power kept. Pulling away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are picky. We pick depth over being known, peace over cheering, truth over praise. Others might say we have shifted. They feel we are no longer open for drama. We stop fighting to be heard. We walk away without anger. This isn't leaving life. It is coming back to what matters. A quiet power builds, one that doesn't need to brag. The world gets noisier. We get steadier. The last shift is quiet but huge. Events that once seemed messy show a link. Conduct shows the reason. Results show the start. Reality finds a beat. We see the patterns behind old errors, the quiet hints under talking, the goals under the act. Marcus Aurelius told us, everything we hear is a view, not a fact. Everything we see is a point of view, not the truth. The awake mind knows the difference. We see loops in people and in the world. We find honesty and lies. We see the same story where others see luck. This isn't being scared, it is being smart. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you act. Seeing loops allows for accuracy instead of a reflex. We also watch our own loops. What sets us off? Habits, repeating thoughts. They become guides for getting better. This view doesn't boost pride. It builds care. We act instead of just reacting. We pick instead of just moving. Life stops feeling messy. It becomes clear, a task that rewards watching. Many fight this part. Truth is heavier than comfort. But wisdom was never about being easy. It is about seeing life and acting with truth. This waking up doesn't give magic powers. It gives knowing. And knowing gives freedom. Freedom from being used, from lies, from doing the same wrong thing. We see the strings tying life together, and in seeing them, we move closer to owning ourselves.